Grand Rising, loved ones. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Wisdom with me, your favorite spiritual advisor, Empress Oracle. How y'all doing today? Hope you're well. You look well, might I add. You look good. Y'all look good. Well, so I want to talk today about a topic that, quite honestly, it perturbs me because I love my kings. Kings, I don't want you to feel like I'm ganging up on you because I'm not. What I'm speaking about today is from a place of love because recently I have spoken to a lot of my male friends. I have spoken to my brothers, just a lot of males out here who are having a hard time breaking these generational curses, okay, in order to achieve their happiness. And we just have to realize we're at the age, it's time for everybody to do what they have to do. It's just time to buckle down. It's time for everybody to get their shit together. Not just you guys, kings. This is for my queens as well. This is for me as well. Everybody, we all have to do it. We are all on this path. We're all on this journey together, right? So, Mama Empress is here to help you. Fellas, now is the time where you really need to do some introspection and ask yourself, are you a king or are you a coward? Okay? That's what we need to ask ourselves. It's a lot of males out here that are having problems, finding their partners or finding their true happiness in relationships, and because a lot of times, basically, they just don't know any better, or shit, we can't even say they don't know any better, because in this day and age, even if you were not brought up in a certain environment, you see around you, we have social media, we have TV, we have magazines, we have all different examples of different types of lifestyles, okay? From the thug lifestyle to, the ideal 3.5 kids, dog house, everything in between. So there's really no excuse, social media puts out all different types of examples, and especially right now when we have so many kings that are stepping up, they're being glorified. Our black men, because we love you, and you don't even have to be black. Our kings, period, we love you. The ones that are stepping up, being good fathers, being good husbands, being good sons, being good siblings, just being good peers, being good, outstanding citizens, stepping in whenever they see an injustice to people. I commend you personally. I just want to say that. Okay? However, we got to do better, fellas, as far as breaking these generational curses. Just because Papa was a Rolling Stone doesn't mean that you have to be as well. Just because you didn't grow up seeing a man in your house full time, and you grew up seeing your mom always chasing after Uncle Joe, Uncle Mike, Uncle Tom, Uncle Dick, Uncle Harry, that doesn't mean that you have to grow up and be Uncle Joe, Uncle Mike, Uncle Tom, Uncle Dick, Uncle Harry. Okay? Just because that's all you saw. Alrighty? That's not an excuse. You see how that worked out, right? You see all your older cousins, all your uncles who was players back in the day. What happened to them now? Most of them are probably lonely or stuck with somebody they really don't fucking want to be with, right? So instead of walking into that pattern, now is the time for you kings to break that cycle, because that is a generational curse as well. Because you feel like that's right and you feel like that's okay because that's what you grew up seeing, right? You think being a player is okay because that's what you grew up seeing. The fellas on the block made it seem real cool, but where are they now? Where are they now? I guarantee you most of them, if you were to speak to them now and you were to ask them if they had any regrets on anything that they did or anything that they could change in the past, I guarantee you all of them would say that they would do things differently in their life so that now that they're older, they would be happy, they could be abundant with somebody that they know truly loves them and they could be prosperous with, instead of trying to be a player, kings. Alrighty? Be the man that your mother always wanted. How about that? You used to see your mom stressed, crying, struggling. You had to step up and be the man of the house. But now that you're grown, you're unable to do that for yourself in your own household. Something is not right with that. Something's not right with that. Alrighty? It's don't run from things that are supposed to naturally take course in your life. It's a lot of men out here, and I definitely can say my brothers have this problem. Okay? Period. A lot of grown men out here, grown children, just single, sad, lonely, because they grew up seeing certain things, maybe cultural traditions, the players, Jamaicans, the men, they love women. The men are known for being Rolling Stones, not settling down, having children everywhere. What happens to those children? They grow up thinking that type of lifestyle is okay, and it's not. Everybody deserves to be loved the way that they want to be loved. You don't have to be forced into a lifestyle, a player lifestyle, if you know you want to settle the fuck down. You don't have to be forced into the single motherhood lifestyle with numerous children and stuff if you know that's not what you want to do. Some of us don't have a choice. Some of us, it happens. We got young, like myself. It happens. It happens. However, I chose not to be a statistic. That is a breaking of a generational curse in itself. Right? Fellas, you can choose not to be a statistic as well. You can choose to be the example for your peers, for your family members around you. Okay? You can show them that it's okay to do right. You can be that difference. You can start that trend of happiness, of love, of loyalty, of fidelity. You can be that example, especially if you have children. If you have children and you know how you grew up, the lack that you had, why would you want your children to experience that? If you know Papa was a Rolling Stone when you were growing up, and you are older now and you have children, why would you want your children to see you do that as well? You know how it made you feel. Sometimes we have to stop thinking about just ourselves. I understand that life is intense and we get into it. And sometimes we just get so involved in life and everything that's going on that we forget to look outside of ourselves. And we don't really realize or pay attention to the effect that our actions have on other people outside of ourselves. But it's time for us to take that into consideration, especially for the children. Alrighty, because that is how we are going to break these generational curses. It starts with us, and our children are watching us. Period. Regardless of what you say, actions always speak louder than words. You can tell your children 9,959 times to go left. But if they always see you going right, you always lecturing them like, don't forget to go left now. And then they always see you turning right. What do you think they're going to do when you're not there, when you turn your head? You think they're going to be like, oh, well, mom or dad always told me to go left, so I'm going to go left. Or they're going to be like, well, shoot, mom and dad always told me to go left, but I always saw them going right. So something good must be down right. So let me go down right too, because I want to be just like mom or dad. That's what's going to happen. And that's not what we want, kings. We're trying to raise more kings, especially now when you see they're trying to kill our kings. What do we have to do? Destroy and rebuild. We have to raise more. It's up to us, not just us queens. We are the bearer of the kings, yes. But kings, we need you to stop being cowards and step up, grow up, handle those responsibilities. To my brothers, grow up. Grow up. Get the help that you need. Alrighty? Don't fall into the patterns that we saw our fathers doing. Because you see how they grew up. They're not happy. Don't choose that for yourself. Don't feel like you don't have any choice. You always have a choice. Always. It's time. It's time to grow up. If you don't know how, there's always other sources. Ask for help. Move that pride. That pride is what's going to stop a lot of people from their true happiness, their true wealth, and their true abundance, which starts from within. That pride is not fooling anybody, just you. And anybody who entertains it is just somebody who does not want to see you live and achieve your full purpose. That's just on period. Alrighty? Everybody has a conscience. Those who know better do better. And that is very, very true. Alrighty? So regardless, king, if you are a king and you know you have these unhealthy patterns, these unhealthy toxic cycles that are not good for you, that really leave you empty. Don't be a coward. Don't act like you don't see it. Don't deny it. Don't brush it off. Don't say, "Oh well," because I tell you what, if we don't get it right this lifetime, we have to come back and do it again. Your soul will always live on. How do you want your soul to be? Do you want it to be at rest? You think it doesn't affect you now, but it does, because those feelings you have on the inside, those unsettled feelings when you're by yourself, the shit that you won't tell nobody else, that you can't be real with nobody else, that's your soul speaking to you. It's not going to go away. It's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. Alrighty? We have to make a conscious effort to break cycles and patterns, especially if you keep doing the same things that you see the people before you, the examples. If you keep doing those same things that they did and you're not getting no different results, I mean, I could have told you you wasn't special anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to feel it for yourself. By how many times? How many times? How many times are you going to miss out on a good thing because of what you grew up seeing? Because of what you used to, what you heard was cool, what you thought was player, what you seen everybody else do? How many times are you going to miss out on the woman of your dreams, the career of your dreams, the opportunities of a lifetime? How many times? At the end of the day, the person that's going to hurt is you. It's going to also affect the people around you. You don't think your children want to see you happy? Anybody who's around you who truly loves you should want to see you truly happy. Remember that. Remember that. It's your responsibility to take accountability of your actions and to change the future or break those curses. It's up to you. You can't blame it on anybody else. After but so many times of going through the same toxic cycles in relationships, in friendships, with jobs, so at some point you have to realize it's not always everybody else. It's you. At some point you have to turn around and look at yourself and be like, maybe it's me, and be honest with yourself. Seriously. Once you realize that pattern, it doesn't have to always be with just the same person or same situation. If you know, King, every time you get a job, 3 months tops. 3 months tops. And then you gone for some reason, some type of drama, always shitting where you eat. Can't do that at work. Come on, King, you got to break that cycle. Alrighty? Is that what you grew up seeing? The men in your family can't keep jobs and stuff? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's just you. But then that's the time for you to do that introspection. Break that cycle now. Alrighty? Because let me tell you, any wealth or any abundance you're trying to manifest, it's not going to stay. It'll just be another part of that cycle really quick. Aren't you tired of that really quick, easy come, easy go? Don't you want a firm foundation now? It's time, guys. Everybody is actively doing their best, or should be doing their best, to achieve their soul's purpose, their highest purpose, and their ultimate abundance right now. Because the way the world is going, it's blatantly obvious the time is now. So if you are holding yourself back, friends, brothers, kings, even queens, that shows low self-esteem. That shows a lack of self-worth. That shows that you don't love yourself properly. Therefore, you're always going to be in that cycle because nobody's going to be able to love you properly. You're never going to know your worth. You're always going to settle. So you're always going to be unhappy. Right? So the curse, the cycle is just going to keep going. Alrighty? Because anybody who loves themselves, truly loves themselves, truly knows their worth, regardless of what they grew up seeing, regardless of the environment that they were immersed in by choice or by force, they will always know better, and they will always want better for themselves, and they will always pursue better, regardless of what everybody else is saying. Because at the end of the day, the better that they get for themselves will also trickle down and benefit the people around them. That's love. That's love. All right? If you feel like you can't do it yourself, because sometimes, we get used to those toxic cycles. We get used to those patterns, those playaways, whatever. Sometimes you have to seek outside help. It's okay with that. There's some type of stigma or something that is slowly getting broken down, but it needs to go a little bit quicker that, Black people don't need help. People of color, we deal with our issues on our own. And sometimes everybody cannot do that. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you retarded. It don't make you less than anybody else. It makes you smart because you know that you don't know everything. And sometimes you need outside resources. Alrighty? So you go ahead and do that. And you pay attention to those patterns that you want to break. Pay attention to that shit. The patterns and stuff that you saw growing up. That now you're realizing, oh shit, that's a part of me too. Maybe that's why I'm not happy and stuff. The cycles. You start dating a chick. She start acting this way. You make this move. 3 months later, it's like this. Start paying attention. All right. You notice you start gravitating towards certain type of people. Pay attention to the people that you're coming across. That they might be parts of the patterns, If you don't learn your lesson, Spirit will always give you the same lesson over and over in the different format. Remember that. That shit get tiresome. It's time to get off that damn hamster wheel, let me tell you. Alrighty? Do not get comfortable in toxic cycles or negative situations. A lot of times, because we are creatures of habit, a lot of times, especially our kings, they get used to the toxic cycles. They think that's normal. They feel like, well, if you're not raising hell, you're not kicking up, cussing me out, I don't feel like you love me and stuff. But then they're never happy. After a while, it wears them down and they have to go, right? It's too much. Be aware of those red flags in situations, jobs, anything. Be aware of the things that push you or rub you the wrong way that make you go ahead and repeat that cycle again. And be above the fucking influence. Remind yourself, like, hey, this is it. Take a second. Take a second, step back, and be like, this is normally where I make the wrong decision. Right here. So before I go ahead and make this wrong decision again, let me take a second and think about it. And don't make the same decision that you always make, that always be wrong, expecting different results. That's insanity. We don't do that. We already crazy, right? We don't need no more, right? Exactly. Don't do that. Do something different. Don't be afraid to step outside the box. Do something different and try something else. Sometimes it's up to us, and we don't want to have to carry the burden of being the curse breakers in the family and shit. But hey, everybody who chose to be born and be alive and be grown right now signed a contract and has something to do. And a lot of us have been dragging our feet, pussyfooting, and we're going to miss the window of opportunity. And we're going to miss our blessings and our chance for abundance because we're too scared to break these cycles. I would love for everybody to be happy now. We have to understand that we have to be the change or the example for the following generations because they're looking up to us. And no matter what, nobody's perfect. I done had to break a cycle or two, a pattern or two, a curse or two. Trust you me. It's hard, but I will tell you, practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. Alrighty? And sometimes you got to fake it till you make it and it just becomes a habit. But you have to be the example because these younger generations, everything we were raised on, now we're realizing all that was shit, including what we saw at home. So now it's up to us to rewrite our history. All right? We got to rewrite all of this for our children and for ourselves. With that being said, kings, are you really a king or are you a coward? Think about that and let Empress Oracle know. And be safe. I love you guys, okay?